God is good. He is good all the time. God is good. Guys, if you have sent us an email, if you have gone to our website, if you've basically tried to partake in any community, fellowship, or partnerships or commerce, we've been out of commission for a week. Shopify was holding our domain hostage. After many conversations, difficult conversations, we have finally gotten this rectified. I can't begin to explain to you how painful it was, and you're not here to hear about it, but I did just want to let you know, if you sent us an email in the last week, just send it again. That's all we're asking you to do. I'm Billy Ray Mitchell. This is Pat Finn. It is Maroon Effect. It is Homecoming. There's a lot of energy around the program right now, and we are here to preview our game versus Georgia Tech. I'm here to kill a gnat, and let's go. See, I'm fired up. I've got a bunch of good stuff going on. Pat, how you doing, my man?
Homecoming week. This is different. When was the last time we had a homecoming game at noon? I feel like the last few years we've gotten that like 3:30 Maroon Effect slot. I don't know where you're going, but I'm going to Blacksburg this weekend. Billy Ray just left the camera scene if you're watching with us on YouTube. But a lot to do these next 2 weeks before the Big Orange comes to town, not the Syracuse Orange, Clemson Orange. Let's just take this week 1 week at a time, though, Billy Ray. Georgia Tech has had their way with Virginia Tech inside the pearly gates of Lane Stadium since 2014. We have not beat Georgia Tech since 2012. That was Logan Thomas. That was Cody Journell. That was Labor Day night. That was, we lost the Sugar Bowl earlier this year, but that's not going to derail the program. And then 2012 happened. But I am good. I am excited. I like winning streaks, 2 in a row. Looking forward to a third. And let's have some fun here. We got a Roots giveaway this week where we're giving away more tickets to the game. I think that should get triggered tomorrow. If you're listening, it's Tuesday night right now. Tomorrow we'll start giving away some Roots tickets for game day Saturday. We are going to give away more Clemson tickets. If you're a member of the Section 5 Club, don't know who it's going to be, don't know when we're going to do it yet, but it means get in the boat. We're giving away more Clemson tickets. The price could get pretty high on those if you don't have tickets yet. And also, I will be filling this up on Saturday. This is a mini keg from iMark. Now that our website is back up, we can put another post on our website about picking up a cool Sons of Saturday mini keg. Probably going to fill it with something from Bull and Bones. Our friends at Bull and Bones. We might have to head on down there. So I'm excited. A lot going on around the news, a lot going around the program, a lot of awards being handed out this week, whether it was Bashal Tootin, Antoine Powell Ryland, Xavier Chaplin. All three of them earned ACC Player of the Week honors for their respective positions.
Pat, these were the podcasts I was hoping to have this year. Like what a time to be alive. Like, we've been getting on here, battle tested, a little upset, bummed out. Like, this is what I've been waiting for. And we're finally, we're talking about awards. We're talking about beating teams in Lane. We're talking about big games being played in October. It took us a minute, but we're there. We're finally here. Excited about it.
Thank goodness. I saw Tootin was I want to say it came out today, Doak Walker Player of the Week for recognizing running backs. We had Bashal Tootin also was the Reese's Senior Bowl Co-Offensive Player of the Week. Xavier Chaplin was also the Week 8 PFF Team of the Week for Offensive Line. And then we also got some coaching awards as well. Brent Pry, Co-ACC Head Coach of the Week, sharing that with Mario Cristobal from CBS 24/7 Sports. And Tyler Bowen was ACC Co-Coordinator of the Week, sharing that with Shannon Dawson at Miami. Can we just pick one? Why do we need to have co-winners?
Now everybody gets a trophy, bro.
Can we not do any sort of, hey, there's a tiebreaker. Let's actually have you just hate having the word co in front. But I tip my cap to whether they were the outright champ or the co. I tip my cap to all of them for a fantastic showing on Thursday night versus our friends, the Eagles. This bird is better.
Hokie haikus. Should we buzz through them here?
Oh,
The
nice
haikus are
pun.
pouring in, dude.
Good pun.
Oh, that's right.
Why don't we do Pete McGee's and then should we do the rest at the end?
Yeah, let's do
Letters
that.
from the lunch pail. Okay, cool. We got a lot.
Good call. I'll move him down.
All right, I'll read Pete McGee's here. B NATO blows in. Will it spin through an earthquake? Tectonic showdown.
Ooh, I like that.
I saw B NATO and I was like, wait, is there a hurricane coming in this week called like Hurricane Bernardo? And there was a typo. But no, that was just Pete McGee making some funnies.
Unbelievable.
Good
job, Pete.
Bird. So, Georgia Tech, know the foe. There's a lot of history in this rivalry.
Can I ask a question?
Billy Ray?
Where I have and maybe you'll jump down my throat because I have some takes like this that people don't like, but where does Georgia Tech rank on your teams that I hate? Because the way that I feel about Georgia Tech is like if they're on and they're playing somebody else, I might root for them. I like Brent Key, blue collar program, fun rivalry. They're not like a team that I like hate. They're a rival that we play often, but I don't hate Georgia Tech. I think their hateability level is pretty low. Where do you fall on that?
Georgia Tech does not have at least in this day and age, does not have the fan base of Virginia Tech. I know we had some really good football games with them in the early days of our ACC existence. I know there were some competitive games as well, but it's never been like we hate them, they hate us. In my opinion, at least. I think at least with their fan base and like the culture of their program, like I think there's always been a mutual level of respect between Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech because of the word tech. You got science, technology, engineering, mechanical. I mean, we got some smart dudes and some smart gals at both of these schools. I know Georgia Tech is predominantly male, and like Georgia says Georgia Tech is like super nerdy and hell of an engineer, and they're very much proud of their academic foundation at Georgia Tech. But I got no problem with Georgia Tech. I think the Ramblin' Wreck is cool. I think Paul Johnson was not great when he was coaching at Georgia Tech. I think every single offensive lineman in Virginia Tech history who played against Paul Johnson or defensive lineman with the cut blocks. I mean, it was nonstop. But
don't hate the player, hate the game, man. Paul Johnson, for all that can be said in the triple option, they should have recruited better, but with who they brought in, they definitely maximized their talent. It was a tough preparation for anybody that had to go in. I remember at practice, it was always, your boy holding it down on scout team. We would have to go out there and we would be practicing. Like it took up so much time of like practice of getting ready for the cut blocks. Kind of, you almost have to remove yourself from like a normal week of prep to prepare for what Georgia Tech was coming to town with. And, you hear Notre Dame fans talk about it all the time. It is so debilitating to have to play a triple option team every single year. So definitely a curveball. Did a great job though. Won a lot of games.
What a ton of games. I feel like they were always winning 8 or 9 games under Paul Johnson, with the occasional ACC championship and BCS bowl appearance. Remember that they destroyed Mississippi State and Dak Prescott and Dan Mullen.
Ricky June was on that team. Played against him in high school. He played tight end. St. Joe's. Shout out.
Ricky June. What was I going to say? Oh, Georgia Tech. Chan Gailey was their coach before Paul Johnson. I remember Reggie Ball was their quarterback. If you remember the 2007 game where we had the Halloween, the jerseys went missing, one of the cool stories in college football lore. Georgia Tech always had a really good wide receiver. But it was funny because if I have my eras lined up correctly, obviously Calvin Johnson was not in that Paul Johnson era. But Stephen Hill and Demaryius Thomas, RIP, were both first and second round wide receiver talents playing in a triple option offense. I was always just a little wait, what's going on here? But Georgia Tech also had some really, really, really good running backs. Jonathan Dwyer was phenomenal. I think who was Josh Nesbitt's running back? Do you remember? I remember Tashard Choice was a good back. They've always had a very solid running back, in our relationship with them.
Very
Roddy Jones,
similar.
ACC Network, Roddy Jones.
Very similar to Boston College, where you can always count on Georgia Tech to have a solid run game. Obviously, you can count on them with the triple option to have a solid run game, but a solid run game, solid defense, and a good offensive line. Very fundamentally sound teams. I'll tell you what, who was the coach before Key and after Johnson were the Joggers? What was his name?
Jeff Collins, dude.
Jeff Collins. A little bit of a weird.
He won 10 games in his tenure as Georgia Tech head coach, dude. He was no bueno.
I thought, I'll tell you what, when he came in, and he owns the press conference, brother. Like, he comes in and he's like, we're in Atlanta. I'm an Atlanta guy, NIL. I'm like, oh, man, Georgia Tech about to be really good. Never really came to fruition. But I will say, we'll get into this. Like, Brent Key, love that guy.
They've got their guy.
Yeah.
They've got their guy. Georgia Tech, did you know Georgia Tech recognizes 4 national championships?
2 pre-World War II. 17 and 28, dude.
1917, 1928, 1952, and then 1990, who they split a share of the national championship with none other than the Colorado Buffaloes. I got to tell you guys, I was not alive in 1990, but even just looking up at like the bowl matchups, and Georgia Tech ranked number 2, played number 19 Nebraska in like the Citrus Bowl for their bowl game. Like, wait a second, why are we not putting number 1 against number 2? And I guess the bowl tie-ins had just significant weight with the conferences, and it would just be like, all right, let's just have another AP poll that decides the national champion. I haven't done enough research on that, and I feel like I should know this, what it was like technically in pre-BCS, but I just find that a little wild that, you could win a bowl game against the number 19 team in the country and just claim a national championship. But
sounds nice. I mean,
I know. I know Tech has like an undefeated season somewhere in like the 1930s. I'm sure we could claim a natty from being 7-0. Rivalries for Georgia Tech listed as dormant rivalries: Bama, Auburn, Vandy, and Tennessee.
Fun fact: Georgia Tech is in Alabama's fight song. There's like a line in there: "We're going to take the Jackets to a watery grave," or something like that. They are mentioned in Alabama's fight song.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech. Now, were they in the SEC at one point?
Must have been in like the Southeast, the South, Big South, or whatever it was called back in the day.
Yeah. So Georgia Tech was in the SEC from 1933 to 1963, and then was an independent from 64 to 82 prior to joining the ACC. So the more you know, Billy Ray. The active rivalries listed on the Wikipedia page: Virginia Tech, Clemson, and Georgia. So,
tough draw.
Tough
draw.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I love the Coastal, man. I miss the Coastal.
I know. The Coastal was great.
Just go back. Like, we just had
so
many stories. Well, we're going to get into that. Brent Key, I know you have a few things that you want to say.
I mean, I love this guy. Like, I have liked him since he was hired. He just seems like a normal dude, offensive line mentality. If you have not, I strongly encourage you to go watch his press conference. He was joking with some of the reporters about, do they lift weights before the thing started? He's given hilarious answers about stuff. He had a really cool dialogue around what the difference is between having confidence and confidence in your ability to win. Really great. I really enjoyed listening to his presser. He's got that like Belichick cutoff hoodie situation going on. I mean, dude, come on. What are we talking about? This guy rocks. I am a Brent, not this weekend, but I am a Brent Key fan. I think this guy's a stud.
I mean, if this guy's coming back to coach at his alma mater, I think he's firing up. I think he's a leader of men. He's firing up the guys. Mm-hmm. Look at
we're looking at some pictures here on the YouTube. I mean, this guy, he is a football guy through and through. Real quick on these two coaches, the battle of the Brents, the battle of the Techs. Brent Key they both got hired in the same year, 2022 was their first year. Brent Key is 16-13 and Brent Pry is 14-17. So a chance to close the gap. We're also in the middle of Brent-tober. Coach Pry has owned October for the past 2 seasons. It's foliage, it's pumpkin spice lattes, and pummeling ACC opponents. That is the MO for the month of October. Coach Pry in his last 2 seasons is 4-1 in October, outscoring opponents 158-90. So I did want to make that call out as well.
Nice. Now, Jeff Collins was fired early in the season, so Brent Key started in 2022, but he did not start 2022 as the head coach. He was their associate or assistant head coach. He was the OC, and he was coaching the offensive line. In 2+ years, he has been a ranked team killer. 2022 beat a ranked Pittsburgh and a ranked Carolina after assuming the duties. 2023 beat a ranked UNC and a ranked Miami. This was the Miami game that we all talk about from last year, where Mario Cristobal decided to not take a knee in the final 40 seconds of the game. Fun fact,
Really
by
dumb.
the way, Brent
Really
Key
dumb.
actually replaced Mario Cristobal as offensive line coach at Alabama. They were on the same staff. I think Cristobal moved from O-line to OC. We'll have to dive in to see exactly what it was. But and then this year, top 10 win over Florida State to start the year. Their first 2-0 start since 2016 as well.
Might have killed the program. Might have killed Florida State. May have put Florida State in a body bag in Dublin and just left them there because they're dead.
Seminoles confirmed allergic to Yellow Jackets. Alabama, he played at Georgia Tech from 97 to 2000. He was the Alabama O-line coach from 2016 to 2018 before taking over at Georgia Tech as the AHC and O-line coach in 2019. Had a hell of a career at UCF. Really climbed the ladder, starting as a GA in 2005, moving up to tight ends. He's been a recruiting coordinator his entire time at UCF. Special teams, tight ends, O-line, associate head coach, offensive coordinator as well. And he was nominated for the Broyles Award 3 times at UCF and 1 at Georgia Tech in 2012, 2013, 2014, and 2020. So this is a good football coach. And looking forward to Saturday here. Battle of the Techs and the TECHMO Bowl are nicknames for this rivalry, and Virginia Tech leads the series 11-8. Lately in this series, the home team has not succeeded. If you guys want to go back the last 3 years, the last 4 years on both sides. Georgia Tech defeated Tech in 2014, 2016. If you guys remember 2016, hated that game. 2018, another tough one, Thursday night game. And then as recently as 2022, we beat Georgia Tech on their turf the last 4 times down there as well. I think it's wild that this game hasn't even been played 20 times. This will be the 20th matchup. And I feel like my life has been Virginia Tech versus Georgia Tech.
It's also weird that we didn't play the game last year. It was one of those, last year it was weird not playing Miami. It was also, I wouldn't say it was equally as weird, but it just felt odd that we didn't play Georgia Tech. There's no reason these two teams shouldn't play each other every single year. I think it's an entertaining game for the most part. 2 schools, blue collar, a lot of history, a lot of tradition. I hated that we didn't play this game last year. So
we played this game 16 years in a row from 2004 up until 2020. We did not play them in 2020. Georgia Tech was not included in the 10+1. We did play them in 1990, the year that they won the national championship, or at least claim it. Georgia Tech beat Tech 6-3, and all 9 points of that football game were scored in the 4th quarter. This came right after Georgia Tech went into Charlottesville and defeated number 1 UVA 41-38.
Wow.
Crazy. If you were at either that UVA Georgia Tech game, I don't know why, but you probably remember it. And then if you were at the Georgia Tech Virginia Tech game the following week, Let us know in the comments. Give us some feedback on Twitter. Would love to hear any first-hand accounts. I know that account at Higher Loyalty is always sharing photos from Hokie games in the past. So share photos if you got them from 1990. The winner of this football game went on to win the Coastal Division all but one time from 2005 to 2012. Tech won it. Virginia Tech won it, I should say. 05, 07, 08, 2010, and 2011. Georgia Tech in 2006, 2009, and 2012. This game was so hard to win every single year.
This just also goes to point to Miami just not being a powerhouse since they came into the ACC. Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech owning the Coastal Division for years on end here.
And then this guy, Pat Narduzzi, came to town. In 2023, when the ACC announced opponents would be set from 24 to 30, with SMU, Cal, and Stanford getting added, Georgia Tech and the Hokies will play in 2024, 25, 26, and 2029. So we'll take a little 2-year break before 2029. A couple notable games running down memory lane. 2000, very notable, BCA Classic, Lane Stadium. Lightning hits Lee Corso's car right before the game canceled. And I'm pretty sure it might have been the year before, but pretty sure Enter Sandman started on this night. Either started on this night or started in 99. 2005, at home, college game day, 51-7. Lee Corso holds up the t-shirt at game day. I don't know what a Hokie is, but God is one of them. Lightning hit my car. Go Virginia Tech. Just absolutely demolished them. Now, what's funny is that we played them at home in 2005 and 2006. And the reason that is because the ACC went from actually, no. You know what? I wrote down that it's because we moved to divisions, but we moved to divisions in 05. So I don't know why we played back-to-back games in Blacksburg. But needless to say, Calvin Johnson destroyed us that day, lost 38-27, ended up losing back-to-back, lost to Boston College the following week. 2008, I suspect late hit out of bounds in Lane Stadium keeps Virginia Tech alive during Orange Effect. 2009, tough loss in Atlanta. Highest we have been ranked since 2007. Joshua Nesbitt just runs up and down, carves up our defense. And this 2009 Georgia Tech team eventually wins the ACC title, which is funny because the title actually was vacated due to breaking some rules. Sorry, my Slack is... Let me turn off those notifications here. 2010, the David Wilson kick return game. David Wilson says, hey, I'm taking this to the crib. Sorry, Tyrod, we're not getting good field position because you're not touching the field. I'm housing this one. Epic night in Lane Stadium. Jesse Palmer. Who was it on the call? Jesse Palmer, Reese Davis, maybe. A lot of fun. 2011, really fun night in Bobby Dodd. Tech goes in, ranked number 10, beats Georgia Tech, ranked number 20. Logan Thomas, 5 touchdowns. David Wilson went off. Huge night for Boykin, Danny Cole, Marcus Davis. 2012, spoke about it earlier. Logan Thomas hits Dimitri Knowles deep for a touchdown. Orange Effect. Rock Carmichael with a big pick in the fourth quarter. Cody Jernell hits the field goal to win the football game. That is the last time we've won this game at home.
That's crazy. That's crazy. We haven't won at home since we were in high school. That's crazy.
Senior year in high school, it was the first time I ever went into the north end zone. I was like, this is sick. I'm so awesome. I'm in the north end zone, like going to school the next day. Guys, like at soccer practice, we had like a scrimmage. Like, yeah, we're playing Madison later today. But I need to tell you about my night. 2013, Hokie Stone helmets in Atlanta. Kyle Fuller playing leapfrog all night long. I just also remember DJ Cole's hobbling into the end zone, catching a touchdown pass. I think he was really banged up, and I just remember him catching a ball on the flat and then just literally shuffling into the end zone.
2013 was funny. because it was either right after I committed or right around like when I was considering committing. But my pops on the couch, white t-shirt, just drinking some Dr. Pepper, calls me down. He's like, dude, this Kyle Fuller guy is so good. Like, you need to come watch this game. And I did. He played pretty awesome. I've never seen somebody use a defensive back in that manner. It was a Bud Foster and Fuller masterclass that night. Just a ton of fun. If you have some time, go on YouTube, watch it. It was unbelievable.
If we're talking memorable games, in my mind, we'll fast forward to 2019. 45-0 win in Bobby Dodd. Caleb, I just think of the Caleb Farley pick six. We scored a lot of points that night. It was the first shutout of Georgia Tech since 1957 at home.
I remember from that game. I mean, we were rolling at that point. I remember. I remember Trey Turner and Damon Hazelton dancing on the sideline.
It was a big game for Keyshawn. Keyshawn King had a big night.
Keyshawn King had a great night. I watched that game with Trent Young, Mike Santamaria, and Ish Cisse. Man, that was fun. 2019 is a fun year.
That was Bryce's. Excuse me. It's Bryce's engagement party. Little oyster shuck in Richmond.
Nice. Okay.
I ran the Richmond half that morning.
I was at the game in Atlanta.
Stopped
at the varsity. It was one of two stints in Atlanta.
Don't want to talk about the second one.
No.
And I don't want to talk about 2022, where Georgia Tech beat Virginia Tech. This guy, Zach Pyron, filled in for Jeff Sims. That's a name. Jeff Sims is still playing college football, by the way. Fun fact.
Crazy.
Shout out to Tucker Holloway. He did house a punt before half. And then Kelly Lawson, pick six, 4 minutes left in the third quarter, puts us up 27-16. We're like, all right, we're chilling. And then they scored with like a minute or two left in the game. Grant Wells fumbled out of bounds. We had two non-offensive touchdowns on this day. We just had a very rough offense.
Man, it's that the 2022 season, man, was just a really difficult exercise that we all went through together. And that was one of the games that we really had a shot to win. After the Kelly Lawson pick six, I was like, we're going to win this game. We did not. So,
Maroon Effect, Saturday. I said I wish this was the 3:30 slot. I don't know the last time I went for a full weekend in Blacksburg where the game was at noon. You know, I feel like I've done a lot of day trips on the nooner, so it's just going to be a little bit different. Sticking around and hanging out Saturday night, looking forward to it. I wrote here, all maroon for noon. Now, I see Billy Ray wore his all maroon. I just switched colors from what I wore on the BC preview. What do you think? You think we're going to get all maroon? Do you think we're going to get, maroon, white? I'm hoping for maroon, white.
I think we're going to get maroon, white. If it were up to me, I love the white, maroon, white. I think the white, maroon, white looks so good. But I don't know if they have that in there. Well, you could do the helmets that you literally wore last week with a maroon jersey and white pants. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I know this is going to be a little bit of a hot take. Maybe it's not. I think the maroon looks so good during the day. The overhead shot of the stadium with the maroon during the day, it's gonna look really nice. I don't know if we're in peak foliage yet. We have to be approaching it. But Virginia Tech is gonna look beautiful. I'm interested to see what the temperature is too. But it'll be a fun day.
Yeah.
Should we dive into some storylines here?
Let's go.
So another week where Virginia Tech needs to be perfect to keep their preseason goals alive. Georgia Tech is seeking bowl eligibility. So are we. But this goes a long way for both teams. This is a chance for Coach Pry to go on his first 3-game winning streak since becoming the head coach at Virginia Tech. We just mentioned his run that he is on in October. So when you look at the rest of Georgia Tech's schedule, the rest of their schedule goes, they're at Tech, Miami, NC State, Georgia. They have 5 wins. This is a game that they're probably going to want to win if they want to go to a bowl game. Miami's going to be tough. Georgia's going to be tough. NC State probably the worst team that they play. But, Dave Doran kicks it into high gear when everybody starts to talk about him getting fired. So I don't know if you want to leave it up to chance if you're Georgia Tech, but that's kind of where we are. And then switching it over to Georgia Tech as well as some presser notes. Haynes King is day to day. If you're Brent Key, I straight up don't believe you. I don't believe you. I don't think that's on. I'm not going to call him a liar. I think he's playing.
I was
going to
say this was your guy.
He's my guy, and he's doing what you got to do. He's playing the game a little bit. I don't know what his availability is. I hope he plays. I enjoy watching Haynes King play ball from Texas A&M, by the way. So that was a couple of notes for Georgia Tech. Again, I strongly encourage you. He said that one of the biggest challenges his team is dealing with is confidence and belief and expectation that you're going to win. He said, my team doesn't have a confidence issue. They have like he's basically saying nobody cares how hard you work, how hard you play, how hard you practice. There's no asterisk on a box score for that. They care about wins and losses. I mean, I was getting fired up listening to Coach. Coach Pry in his press conference, he said second level run fits and tackling on the perimeter were noted as an issue. So if you look at the depth chart, Keller or Brumfield are listed at the linebacker spot. And a note from last week, this is the first time since 2019 that we have forced turnovers in 6 consecutive games. That's 6 consecutive games that Virginia Tech has forced a turnover. So good job, defense. Good job, defense. I'm going to leave the vibe check for you for Georgia Tech, but for Virginia Tech, look, we're playing at home. We're going to be favored again. Just keep the good juju rolling. Keep getting better. Keep pushing that boulder up the hill because we sure let it drop down to the base of the hill, but we're pushing it up. Continue that momentum. 4 quarters of football. Let's win again. Let's do it again. Why not?
Vibe check. Georgia Tech started 5-2. You're like, oh wow, this team is probably pretty solid. I think a lot of people anointed Georgia Tech as a good football team when they won in Dublin in week 1. And now we've come to learn that they were really close to losing to Florida State, which is a crazy slant. But that's the reality right now. They are 5-3. They're 3-2 in conference play. Wins over Florida State, Georgia State, VMI, Duke, and Carolina.
Don't forget Georgia State beat Vanderbilt.
It's a good Georgia State team. Losses to Syracuse, at Louisville, and a loss versus Notre Dame. I mean, honestly, at this point in the year, those are quality losses, right? I mean, you got the Syracuse team who's only lost 1 football game. Louisville is solid. We saw them almost beat Miami, and then Notre Dame is Notre Dame. So it's not like they've been beat by anyone that is, an incompetent team. But I want to say their best win is Duke. So don't know.
They've had to go to some tough places, man. I mean, they had to go to Syracuse. They had to go to Louisville. Let's not forget, Kyron Drone said that Louisville was the loudest place that he's ever played at. At least he said that last year. I don't know if he has earplugs in when he's at Virginia Tech, but he was probably just talking about opponents. But tough schedule. Their easy games have been pretty easy. I mean, I don't really know who they are. I really don't. They got a backup quarterback probably playing. Very interesting. And they haven't even had a bye week yet. They haven't gotten to relax.
It's kind of crazy when their bye week is. So they lost to First of all, they played Notre Dame in Mercedes-Benz.
Mm-hmm.
WTF. The Georgia Tech UGA series is also moving to Mercedes-Benz. I don't know if there's just a lot of money involved here, but why would you do that?
I hate it.
I'm really disappointed in the state of Georgia and Governor Brian Kemp for allowing this to happen. Peculiar scheduling in the month of November. They have not had their bye week yet, as Billy just mentioned. They have 2 bye weeks in November, November 2nd and November 16th. They also host NC State on November 21st on Thursday Night Football.
This is bad. This is I don't know if this is the ACC's fault or the Georgia Tech's fault. Like you can't play on week 0 and have no bye until November. Like that is just, I don't know who's responsible for this, but if I'm Brent Key, I'm pissed. This is bad.
So they have this NC State game, Thursday Night Football at home, and then the next week it says at Georgia. They play on Friday night, Black Friday. The Georgia Bulldogs are hosting Georgia Tech. Interesting November scheduling. I don't know what the vibes are for this team in the second half of the year. You got a spooky quarterback situation. You got a spooky November schedule. They're not playing on Saturdays late in the year.
Previewing this team, Georgia Tech 5-3, 33rd hardest schedule in college football so far. They have had some serious lulls, much like Virginia Tech has had. Notre Dame, they were outscored 21-0 in the second and third quarter total. In the Duke win, they were scoreless in the third quarter. In the Louisville game, they were outscored 5-14 in a quarter, and then 0 points in the third quarter of the Syracuse game. So, couple of similar situations here, and I'm actually going to preview special teams first because this continues with this interesting situation. Georgia Tech special teams, let's do it this way. If Virginia Tech special teams were a national tragedy, Georgia Tech's special teams are an international tragedy. They have had a punt return for a touchdown versus UNC. They've had a blocked field goal versus Notre Dame. They gave up a blocked field goal or a fake field goal against Notre Dame. They have kicked 8 field goals over 29 yards. Here is how those have gone. They have made 1 of those kicks. 2 of them have been blocked. 4 of them have been missed. And 1 of them was a bad snap. Just absolutely terrible on special teams.
But somehow the kicker, Aiden Burr, who was the hero of the Florida State game after missing, is 31 of 31 on extra points.
So the extra point unit is killing it. Eric Singleton, he's a super athlete. He's their kick return guy. He's averaging 26.5 on each return. And Rodney Shelley on punt return, he has 72 yards on the year. But look, their special teams, serious issues. They also tend to turn their brain off for a quarter or 2 in some of their football games. So that is the lowdown on Georgia Tech. Talk to me about their offense, Pat.
Scoring 30.4 points per game. That's good for 54th. They run a pretty balanced attack, but I know that with Haynes King out, they may be out. Speculation. Zach Pyron, known to be a mobile guy. 6'3", 220. Billy Ray does have him labeled as the Red Rifle.
Dude, go look him up, man. He's got red hair. He's got a mustache. He's from Pinson, Alabama.
Oh yeah. Should we do the screen share?
Bring it up. It's worth a look. It's worth a quick look.
There we go. Thank you for the permission. Who we got?
I mean, come on, man. That guy screams Georgia Tech backup quarterback from Pinson, Alabama. They're passing for 243.8 a game. They're rushing for 189. Their offensive line goes a lot of old guys here. Graduate, redshirt junior, redshirt sophomore, only allowing 3 sacks on the year. Georgia Tech wins football games when they run the football effectively. Every single game that they have won, they rushed for 190 yards plus. They actually rushed for 371 yards against UNC. And I just also want to say, man, UNC sucks. Like they're pretty bad. They're playing UVA this week. Probably going to be a really good game. Highly entertaining. In the losses that they have, they rushed for 112, 98, and 64. So stop the run.
Haynes King, if he plays, we had to put the numbers on the paper.
He's not playing. I'm telling you, I don't think he's playing.
136 of 191, completing 71% of his passes for 1568, 8 touchdowns and 1 pick. He's also a threat on the ground. 353 yards on the ground, 6 touchdowns. He is the second leading rusher on this ball club. Pyron stats from Pinson. He is the guy that beat us in 2022 as a true freshman in his first ever start. This is when Brent Key was interim head coach. He has completed 25 of 43 for 58% of his passes, 333 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, 17 attempts on the ground for 66 yards, and 2 touchdown runs as well. Jamal Haynes is their running back. Again, we talked about the Tashard choice and Jonathan Dwyer. Jamal Haynes, redshirt junior, 5'9", 175. He was a 1,000-yard rusher in 2023 and third-team All-ACC. This year, he has 104 carries, 551 yards, 5.3 yards per carry, and 8 touchdowns for Jamal Haynes. Also a threat via the air, 17 catches for 97 yards and a score. Their number 2 back is Chad Alexander, 41 carries, 221 yards, 5.4 yards per carry, and a score. And then who's Pyron / Haynes throwing the ball to? You have Malik Rutherford and Eric Singleton. Both of them are pretty good. Rutherford.
Pretty small.
Yeah.
Pretty small.
Rutherford's a smaller guy, 5'9", 165. Singleton, 5'11", 190. Singleton's a sophomore. Rutherford is in his 4th year. And both of them are over the 450 mark. Rutherford, 44 catches, 541 yards, 12.3 yards per catch, 2 touchdowns. Singleton, 36 catches, 458 yards, 12.7 per, and 2 touchdowns as well. Very similar stat line from these guys, So they get past the sticks, they get in the end zone, they have quite a few dozen catches to their name this year.
Looking at their defense, they're surrendering 22.6 points per game, and they are only giving up 111.8 yards on the ground per game. Something is going to have to give. And if I were a gambling man, which I am, it's not going to be Bashal Tootin that gives. So, look, I'm excited. On paper, this is a very fun matchup. It's a really good opportunity for both coaches. 12 o'clock. You can't ask for much more, Pat. You really, really can't ask for much more in a football game. What else do we have on defense?
They have this guy on their edge. Sack leader on their team, rivals APR. His name is Sylvain Yanjuen, and he has 2 sacks on the year. So, no, they do not have anyone who is leading major categories in the sacks or TFLs department. He is the sack leader. He is the clear-cut sack leader, and he only has 2. Everyone else has 1.5 or 1 or 1/2 or 0. So, not much to report there. This is an offensive line team. This is not a defensive line team. Kyle Efford, great sophomore linebacker from Georgia, 6'2", 230, leads the team in tackles. And then 2 defensive backs, Amari Harvey, who has an interception on the year, 38 tackles, and then Tay Seymour, also 35 tackles. The other
real quick,
they got some cool names.
The state of Georgia has 2 absolute monsters that play linebacker that are sophomores. Kyle Efford is great. And then you have Whit Weeks from Watkinsville, Georgia, at LSU, who's also a sophomore. They're both absolute tackle machines. Whit Weeks has 68, and our guy Efford has 52. But they're both great from the state of Georgia. A lot of good players in Georgia.
Efford or Efford, however you say it, we're probably going to hear his name a lot on Saturday. And then another guy, linebacker, Trinilius Tatum, 33 tackles, leads the team in TFLs as well. And they also have a guy, Romello Height, who we might hear his name a few times.
Names are crazy.
Yeah, we got Amari, Tay, Trinilius, Romello, Sylvain, and Kyle. 4 pass breakups and 1 pick for Warren Burrell, who has the best statistics from a defensive back on the team, and the team has forced 3 fumbles on the year. Keys to the game. Brent Key.
How have they forced 3 fumbles and have 4 fumble recoveries?
I'm assuming that maybe one of the fumbles wasn't forced. Like maybe
Just
the
gave
guy
it up.
running and just dropped it. Kind of like how. Never mind. Remember Deshaun Jackson? Was it Deshaun Jackson who was about to score a touchdown and then fumbled the ball at the 1 yard line?
It just happened to UCF again this week. I can't believe that that's not coached out of football. Like the nonstop stupidity of that happening every 3 weeks is crazy. Yeah. Keys to the game. What do you got, Pat?
I said this last week. I'm going to say it again. Win the turnover margin. We won the turnover margin last week. I guess, no, did we win the turnover margin last week? It doesn't matter. We had bigger plays. Win the turnover margin, have more big plays than Georgia Tech. I think really we're going to learn a lot about both of these teams just basically on the offensive and defensive line. What does our defensive line pressure look like this week with a more mobile quarterback? They've only allowed 3 sacks all year from this offensive line at Georgia Tech. It's clearly a unstoppable force meets an immovable object with APR and this Georgia Tech offensive line. They say, hey, we've only allowed 3 sacks all year. APR says, hey, I'm going to have 3 sacks in the first quarter. So it should be exciting to see. And then Bashal Tutin, Virginia Tech is averaging over 200 yards on the ground per game. That is a key ingredient in the formula for winning football in Blacksburg, Virginia. Use the nucleus, the nuke. Bashal Tutin is the nuke. Give him 20 carries. Try to get him to 20 carries. At 15, he might already have 200 yards, but try to get him to 20. 209 yards per game, has us 19th overall in rushing offense. Keep it rolling. Run the ball against this strong rush defense.
Benny's Lines. A reminder to everybody, if you show up to Benny's with the game day pins, you will receive $1 off of your slice. I'm going to do that this weekend. I will be doing it. Noon game means that you can catch the line at a convenient time. That's a rhyme, and that is good economics. So,
can I say something?
Sure.
We got to post a clip maybe later tonight. Chris Riegard committed to 1 slice of Benny's per Bashal Tutin home rushing touchdown.
He did do that.
I think what we might need to do on Saturday, if Bashal Tutin finds himself in the end zone on a rushing touchdown, it will be his 8th touchdown of the year. And Chris, we will take him to Benny Marzano's and we will say, hey, we're getting a pie. You gotta eat as much as you can, and then maybe we'll help. But you need to finish this today, right now.
We'll try to call in, maybe. Hopefully, if it's going well, we'll call in the third quarter. Say, hey, we're going to be over there to pick up a pie. I agree, Pat. I mean, look, take care of the football, smart ball, stop the run, and let's keep this special teams no screw up situation on our side going. Hokies opened as 9-point favorites. It got all the way up to 11.5. Now it's at 11. The over-under is at 50.5. Grant Watson, over-unders. Hokies defense interceptions, half. What do you got?
We have had an interception or a fumble recovery 6 weeks in a row. Over.
Okay.
With the trend.
Tutin rushing yards, 119.5. Over.
I really like taking the over here because he is 129 yards away from the 1,000 mark on the season. So let's set that over under to 128.5, Grant. And let's get Tutin to 1,000.
Is our last 1,000-yard rusher still Trayvon McMillan? Or I don't think Herbert got it in 2020. Did he?
Dude, Herbert definitely got it.
Got 1,000 yards? I mean, I just knew it was a shortened season. I know he had an amazing year. I just can't. I don't remember if he got 1,000 or not. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, we still played 11 games.
Hokies first half spread, -6.5. I'll go over. We've been playing well in the first half. 3 weeks in a row, we've been playing well in the first half. I'll go over. Or not over. I'll go cover.
7 points, 1/2. Yeah, I could see us having like a 10-point lead at half.
Drones total rushing and passing touchdowns, 2.5.
I mean, go ahead.
I don't see a lot of points being scored in this game. So I'm going to go under. I think Tootin's going to primarily be scoring the rushing touchdowns. I can see Kyron having a passing touchdown or 2, 3. I don't know. That's a good line. That's a good line, Grant. I'll go a soft under.
Kyron Drones still has not had his light up the stat sheet moment.
Mm-hmm.
It is homecoming. This might be the opportunity. 2 passing touchdowns and 1 on the ground is my prediction. I think we're going to see like some Jay Lane red zone buddy here.
Score predictions. It's time. What do you got?
It is time. I never come prepared for the score prediction.
I don't either. I wing it. I wing it.
All right. We're favored by like 11.5 now. I am going to say that Virginia Tech, I'm predicting a win. Predicting another win here in Blacksburg. Virginia Tech 34, Georgia Tech 13. A lot of this depends on who shows up at quarterback. Like if Haynes King actually plays, odds are low. I even hear Pyron is banged up a little bit too. I just don't think they're going to move the football on us. I don't think they have that many threats offensively. I think we have a lot of momentum right now, and we understand who we are as a team. So 34-13, it's not really close other than, kickoff.
I'm going to go 24-7. I think that I think that our defense is playing really, really well. I think we're kind of on that trajectory where we're getting better every single week. I think Georgia Tech has had some serious problems with special teams, switching quarterbacks. Again, I like Brent Key. I like that team. I just kind of think, again, their scheduling thing is just totally brutal. To have played this many games and not get any time to like go back and rest up and kind of lick your wounds is crazy. So I'm going to go with Tech, and I think Georgia Tech's just kind of run out of gas. It's a long time to play football with no siesta.
We'll have to see. You don't want to project November when we have a game on Saturday, but could Georgia Tech sneak up on Miami November 9th?
I hope so. That'd be nice.
After a bye. Letters from the lunch pail. Andy Rice. If Haynes King doesn't play again this week, the spread should be at least Hokies -10.
Congrats. It is.
Totally agree. Hey, Andy Rice, I hope you hammer the Hokies.
Let's read some of these haikus before we. Do you have any other notes on Georgia Tech? I'm excited. I think it's gonna be a great weekend in Blacksburg. We got the homecoming happy hour on Friday.
Hokie House
4 to 7.
I think it's 4:30 to 6:30. I know there's fireworks on the drill field. There's a homecoming parade. Should be exciting. If you're a young alum, roll on into Hokie House. We put it on our newsletter earlier this week. Go to any of the young alumni pages, and you can find the registration. I believe it's $10 in advance, maybe $15 at the door.
Pat, I'm really excited for Hokie House and then to hit Sharky's. Have you been to the new Sharky's yet?
I have. Did the upstairs. Looking forward to getting that place a little more, beat up. Yeah. Where it's, college, right? Some stains on the floor,
Hey guys, spill stuff. Just kidding. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't spill stuff. But you know what I mean. It looks too new.
It does. It does. It needs to get a little weathered.
And it will. But is the back patio, is there some retractable stuff going on there? I couldn't tell.
Don't know.
Couldn't tell if the glass slides or not.
We're gonna ask JJ when we go. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure it out. We got to see what the deal is there. But yeah, excited getting down there. I think he talked me into it this morning. Gonna leave in the morning. It's gonna be a ton of fun. Let's read some of these haikus. You want to take the first two?
Spartacus Jones. Hokies take the field. Buzzing jackets seek revenge. Blacksburg roars with pride. Nice.
Wow.
Grant Watson. Jackets swarm the Berg. The buzz of the Hokies win. Stingers neutralized.
Wow, Grant really, really, really leaned in on the B movie here. John Cran, Georgia Tech, fierce foe. Nemesis in seasons past. It's time to kick ass. Wow. That was awesome, dude. Dak VT. Dak Prescott having a rough year. So are the Cowboys. TECHMO Bowl is here. Jackets without quarterback. Beware of the dog. I'll tell you what, with the way October's been going, you got to beware of the hog is what you need to be beware of in the month of October. Thought that would get you to laugh, Pat.
Was that a Pry reference?
Yeah. One more. The one and only Tech is in the Commonwealth. Watch Hokie Hitter. Thank God you can watch Hokie Hitter now that the website is back. Pat, and want to make any outlandish predictions about the weekend itself? It doesn't even have to do anything with the football game. I'm definitely going to have Benny's. That will happen. Maybe Elrod's this weekend, potentially. I think Elrod's would be Elrod's would be fun. I know Riley's going to be in town this weekend. The girls are going to be in town this weekend. I mean, we're gearing up here for a pretty fun time.
Mom and dad are coming down, aunt and uncle. I mean, we got a big...
Oh, K Finn coming out of Hokie retirement, dude. I haven't seen him all year.
I was going to say, what has he been doing?
I don't know what he's been doing.
You know what he would say? He would say, we're going to too many freaking fall weddings, man. That's exactly what he would say. No fall weddings. Great job by Marty Smith and McGee doing the fall wedding bit last week on game day. That was funny. That was silly. I'm done with wedding season. I don't know if you are, but it's over. So guys, enjoy the games. That's a podcast. Be safe. Have fun. If you're going to Blacksburg, looking forward to seeing you. And go Hoks.
Go Hoks. Here, let me call you.